As we wish the President and First Lady a quick return to good health, Coloradans can learn a lot from the White House's failed COVID-19 protocols. For starters, testing, instead of following mask guidance and social distancing, it provides a false sense of security. Colorado's Secretary of State apologizes for telling the media to withhold election night results. My thoughts on what happens when Colorado's top elections job becomes so partisan. These could be the best fall colors this season. A century from now, future generations aren't going to be pleased with what we've done. And the pure joy of dancing on the roof of our state. Next. President Trump is now one of the estimated 585,000 Americans hospitalized for COVID-19. Polls show that Coloradans have largely embraced the public health guidelines that the president mocked prior to getting sick. Stuff like wearing masks and social distancing. And there's a lesson for all of us in what testing does and does not do to protect us. Our Anusha Roy talked with a doctor who's traveled America and comes home to Colorado treating COVID-19 patients.
I will tell you, I have taken care of hundreds, if not thousands, of COVID patients.
Dr. Camila Sasson has worked in 5 states treating patients and helping hospitals prepare for the virus.
We're fighting this invisible ghost.
Today, she offered some insight as someone on the front lines.
President Trump has talked about regularly being tested for COVID-19. What protections does that offer?
So any testing is really just going to give you a snapshot in time of whether or not you are shedding virus. Now we know with most of the different tests out there that it really depends on if you're having symptoms, what your viral load is, how good the sample actually was.
The state health department said frequent testing, particularly among critical workers, can help quickly isolate people.
Now nursing homes are using this strategy, a lot of assisted living facilities.
What does it not protect you from?
It does not protect you from getting the virus. I cannot say that enough. I think people get this false sense of security. Oh, I tested negative. I'm good. I can go to that wedding. It's okay. I don't need to wear a mask. I don't need to, worry about being around 50 other people. You don't know. Even if everybody in that room tells you I tested negative, you don't know if somebody is early on in their disease course and they didn't test positive because they didn't have enough virus yet. I've even seen it with healthcare professionals. That's really where it's actually sometimes kind of hard to even stomach, because you're kind of thinking to yourself, gosh, we just took care of 15 people who came in super sick with COVID, and yet here you are, having had a negative test saying, oh, look, I'm fine for today. You're fine for today. That doesn't mean anything about tomorrow.
Both Dr. Sasson and CDPHE said regular testing does not replace the important tactics to prevent the spread of COVID-19. That includes washing your hands, wearing a mask, and social distancing.
I limit the amount of viral load exposure.
So in late August, we saw reports from the Biden campaign saying that they were going to be doing regular COVID testing as well. But here's the thing, for a lot of people, routine testing and access to that is just simply not realistic or feasible for them. Dr. Sasson was saying that's one of the things she's been seeing across the country while she's been working in multiple states. Here in Colorado, though, the state is saying that there are more than 50 free community testing sites that people can use. And then, of course, private providers are providing those tests as well, Kyle.
You get the idea, though, Anusha, why it would be tempting to just say, well, I'm just going to do a little cheek swab every day at the beginning of work, and then I don't have to worry about the mask, I don't have to worry about social distancing, because that stuff takes its toll on you after a while.
Yeah, Dr. Sasson and I actually talked about that thing. She said she knows that COVID fatigue is a thing, that people are getting tired of what's going on. She said she's feeling tired herself. She's on the road for weeks at a time. But that's also the point in time, she says, that people really need to kind of hit the pause button, assess, are you being as safe as possible, and see if you're taking all of the right precautions.
All right, Anusha Roy reporting. Thank you very much, Anusha. Good news, both Colorado's Republican Senator Cory Gardner as well as former Governor John Hickenlooper, they've both tested negative for COVID-19, took those tests because their first debate is tonight, 7 o'clock in Pueblo. Hickenlooper's campaign said that they reached out to Gardner this morning and everybody agreed to take a test. And again, they both came back negative. This especially significant, though, in Senator Gardner's case, because he's been in physical proximity within the last week to some people who crossed paths in Washington with other folks who have since tested positive. Just under 3.4% of COVID-19 tests in Colorado came back positive yesterday. That lowers our 7-day average for positivity to 3.34%. We're outside the danger zone and down slightly from where we were a week ago. There are 219 Coloradans currently hospitalized with COVID-19. We went over the 200 patient mark yesterday for the first time in more than a month. And our 7-day moving average is 187 patients. That's up more than 30 from a week ago. Yesterday, Colorado added 562 new cases. 7-day moving average for cases is 530, down from over 600 a week ago. Colorado's Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold is apologizing for her demand that journalists not release any vote totals on election night. Her unprecedented call to suppress information from the public drew immediate concern last night from journalists, from Republicans, and even from Griswold's fellow elected Democrats in Colorado. Secretary Griswold said that she wanted the results kept secret so that President Trump could not prematurely declare victory. But now, President Trump can add to his false election integrity claims the accurate statement that a Democratic elections official called for vote totals to be withheld from the public. We asked Secretary Griswold about that today.
I think the president's going to say whatever the president says, no matter what. I always don't feel good about making a mistake, but I think it's important to own it. And I just really appreciate you inviting me on. And one of the things that I think was really confusing in a series of things is results. The word results. I meant the winners and losers of the presidential election, not actual election night reporting of the tabulation. So it was just an artful tweet, and I really apologize.
Last year, Secretary Griswold announced that her office was going to boycott the state of Alabama over its abortion policies. I bring this up because 9 News then learned that Griswold allowed her office's official statement to be edited by the political director of Planned Parenthood. We asked Secretary Griswold today whether her call to withhold election night results was also put together for her by an outside political group. During the interview, she would not answer the question directly. Later today, she released a statement saying that no outside political group crafted her tweet. Here are my thoughts on this. This is a crucial time for Americans' confidence in our elections. President Trump and elected Republicans in Colorado are stoking false fears about a rigged election. Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold's relentless partisanship makes it harder for Coloradans who don't share her politics to trust her election results. Griswold is Colorado's top elections officer. Her choice to use her office for partisan purposes, something that we saw from former Republican Secretary of State Scott Gessler years ago, that may advance Griswold's political career, but it doesn't build confidence in our elections. Griswold's immediate predecessor as Secretary of State, Republican Wayne Williams, offered a pretty good example of how somebody who has clear ideological views can largely set those aside and just kind of focus on the mechanics of elections, skip the constant partisan flame-throwing. That way of doing business in the Secretary of State's office does not draw national media attention, but it does help Coloradans, all Coloradans, trust in our elections. So this weekend could be the best time for Colorado's fall colors in much of the high country, and it is surely better than what we expect to see in, say, 100 years. Researchers out of North Carolina State predict that aspen viewing in Colorado is not going to be the same for future generations. We caught up with the lead author, Nikki Inglis.
I think they're fundamental to the way that we identify with the Colorado mountain landscape. Because aspens are so salient to us, they're everywhere we look when we live in the Colorado mountains and we go and play and we drive. We might take them for granted. I've lived in Colorado more than half my life, and aspen are really close to my heart. What we found was that in the next 100 years in Boulder and Larimer counties, aspen are expected to decline by 13%. But of the aspen that you can see from the scenic drive, our model forecasted a 20 to 22% decline. So proportionally greater percentage of aspen loss in visible landscapes than in the landscape overall. And at higher elevations, where there are these larger and more sweeping viewscapes, aspen are expected to decline by 50%. This is not doom and gloom. We're talking about a century in the future, and it's not like we're going to wake up one day and all the aspens are going to be gone. But it's important to remember that our mountain ecosystems are constantly changing, and they may be visibly impacted by these increasing temperatures and drought. I don't know to what degree that level of loss is going to be noticeable or change the way that we connect with the landscape. And I think that's a really important question, and one that I would love to continue as I move on with my research. I would say to people to go out and enjoy the beautiful colors this year, but don't take them for granted that our children and our grandchildren, they might be seeing drastically different landscapes than we are.
Wow, some beautiful drone footage too. In case you were wondering, the reason why 2 researchers all the way in NC State did this study is because they also studied at CU Boulder. That's when they got into aspens. The freight train of good in our community, that is this next audience, just keeps rolling down the tracks. I want to update you. So this week, we're turning our attention to the issue of food insecurity, since 1 in 3 Coloradans struggles with hunger. Through our Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign, you have raised $36,000 for Metro Caring in the last 2 days. $36,000. Hey, if you got $5 laying around, you still want to get in on the Feel Good Act of the Week, get after it. Text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. I'll shoot you the link to join me in donating. So Metro Caring, they feed families here in the metro area, and they have seen their need triple during the pandemic, and the demand for food staples by food banks means that their costs have shot through the roof. $36,000 from you guys is going to feed a lot of families. If you can help, we'd appreciate it. We're calling this the second summer around here. Enjoy every warm fall day. I think we deserve it this year.
Well, we got a beautiful day outside. We got good friends and great dogs.
If nobody's opposed to feeling good for a change, we're going to do some of it there and some of it here. The pandemic stole their moment in the spotlight, so they're taking it back atop a mountain. That's next. Hey, may I make let's back the brain train up. May I make a recommendation? It's Friday. I promise you have not been in the sauce. Want to make a recommendation of a great article that we encourage you to read. So if it's not clear from our frequent recommendations, I've got a ton of respect for the journalism being done by the Colorado Sun these days. Their education reporter, Erica Brunlin, has a really raw look at how teachers have been pushed to the breaking point this year. I mean, we're talking about teachers calling suicide hotlines to save themselves while they're trying to deal with the stress of keeping their students from falling through the cracks. Teachers are carrying a lot of weight these days, and this Colorado Sun article about it is really worth a read. We'll post the link on the next Facebook page.
Happy Friday, everyone. The weekend's almost here, but the smoke, it unfortunately will be sticking around. Look how just nasty it is out there in Fort Collins. As we look ahead toward tomorrow, unfortunately, air quality unhealthy. We'll also be looking at visibility remaining poor. This is the smoke forecast, and you can see late tonight a cold front will be pushing through. That will briefly help us out, but throughout much of the day tomorrow, we'll be looking at the Denver metro area, stretching all the way across the southeastern plains, looking at that thick smoke. Tonight, temperatures falling to the 40s here in the metro, 30s up in the mountains. With that front tomorrow, numbers cooling off by a few degrees, but overall we stay dry through the weekend as high pressure is around. Looking ahead toward the tail end of the weekend, we'll be back to the upper 70s Sunday with 80s on tap next week.
I see you squeezing the last summery goodness out of this year, and that alone is good news. So we head to a basketball court, Wash Park, to gather up a whole ton of it.
Well, we got a beautiful day outside. We got good friends and great dogs. We got Chewy.
We got Raider over here.
And we're here to have a good day. Just have a couple friends in from Arizona here.
I'm just happy to be out in Colorado. You know, the weather here is perfect. Arizona, it's like 100 degrees. To be out here where it's 85 degrees, it's amazing. So,
you know, it was a nice day, so I brought him out here to come play basketball and just enjoy the weather. My good news is just spending time with family, honestly. I really enjoy it. It's something I look forward to every day. I'm getting to spend so much time with my family, honestly, because of quarantine. You know, nobody's really on campus, so we're just doing all our school online, and that gives me way more time to hang out with them. Just enjoying the little things, honestly, because you don't really get to have this quality time with family anymore.
Surrounded by positive people, people that motivate me to be the best that I can be, and in turn I hope to do the same for them.
If you have nothing to look forward to, just be thankful for like the connections you have. If you're spending quality time with family, just be thankful for that. That's my good news, yeah.
And we did not want 2020 to end without doing something that we felt was remarkable or something.
2020's been all about making the best of things. Can't do your indoor dance competition? Take it outside. Take it to a mountaintop. The most Colorado thing we saw today. Next. The most Colorado thing we saw today. 2 women salsa dancing atop Grays and Tories. When the pandemic took away their normal dance spot, they were like, people from around Colorado were supposed to meet at the 8th annual Denver Salsa Congress last week to celebrate Latin dance. But, you know, the Rona, it's ruined everything. So these 2 Coloradans decided that they would dance on elsewhere.
Dancing is just sort of self-expression for us. So anywhere we can do it, anytime we can do it, we dance because it's just a way to get everything that we're feeling, especially this year, everything that we're feeling out.
Salsa.
Salsa. We're salsa girls.
Salsa.
Yep.
My name is Karen Yoho.
I'm Mia Marina. I've been dancing with Karen here for just
2
about
years.
2 years now. Yes. We have no shame. We will literally dance anywhere.
I've danced in grocery stores before.
Yeah.
We didn't get to perform this year at the Denver Salsa Congress.
Yep. Due to COVID.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
So we decided to hike Grays.
2 14ers.
2 14ers. Grays and Tories, and at the top of each, do a small salsa performance.
We're going to both of those today.
Once we got to the top, we have no shame. We're screaming.
Yeah,
at
we're
the
like,
kids. We were winded for sure after we did like even just an 8 count. Dancing at 14,000 feet is not for the faint of heart. I think we were just so excited to be at the top. We had to let that emotion out, and we do it by dancing. Yeah, COVID shut down the world, but
it's not gonna shut down our dancing.
It's not gonna shut down our dancing. We're gonna get
We're
gonna get up on a mountain and we're gonna dance.
Some of those shots look like they're on a green screen, you know, the thing that Danielle Grant is like, you know, and the temperature is 24 in Leadville, you know, it kind of looks like one of those. Mia and Karen plan to dance at next year's event, and they also intend to make dancing atop 14ers another annual tradition. We end the week with your feedback next. Debbie writes in, just heard Kyle say Wayne Williams was nonpartisan. Why would he send our voter information to the White House? Debbie, you're remembering a misleading attack by the Griswold campaign. Wayne Williams sent the same information that you or I could have gotten with a simple request. See you next time.